Hey everybody. Wow, there's like a lot more than I thought there was going to be. Just keep my notes right here. I brought this really cool clicker that was going to like advance my PowerPoint slides for me. I stole it from work. I can say that because my boss isn't here. And it doesn't work, so I'm going to be like back and forth and trying really hard not to freak out, right? So for those of you who don't know me, I am Jerry. My name is Jerry. I am a former fat shamer. Absolutely. I have been chunky girl my whole life. And nice.
Wait. I don't think I can. I was trying to figure out how to turn it.
There we go. I have been a chunky girl my whole life. I've had low self-esteem my whole life. I have fat shamed myself my whole life. Consequently, I am also Ruby. I am Ruby Jade. I am a body positive burlesque performer, and I am the reason that Jerry is a reformed fat shamer. No? We're not going anywhere? This is awesome. All right. Things I'm not going to do today. I'm not going to tell you that one kind of body is better than another. If you have a body, it's a good one. I am not going to tell you what you should or should not do to your body unless you're hurting yourself. If you're hurting yourself, find me. We'll talk. You're better than that. You're loved. I am not going to imply that loving yourself means that you have to stay exactly the way you are today and that you can't change something that you want to change. Not today. What I am going to do is talk a little bit about being a former fat shamer and self-shamer, and talk about how I learned my own self-worth through burlesque and the burlesque community. I'm going to talk about how the world is a stage, and how we can use that stage to change the way the rest of the world is. Who would we think is beautiful if society didn't tell us what was beautiful? Where do we start to learn our beauty standards? Where do we start to learn what we think is beautiful? Everything starts at home, right? It starts when you're little. I remember being a little kid thinking my mom was the most beautiful woman in the world. I thought she was gorgeous, she's stunning. I still think she's gorgeous, I still think she's stunning. And if I would say to her, Mommy, you're so pretty, she'd say, no, I'm not. Mommy's not pretty. Mommy's ugly. Mommy's fat. So fat and ugly started to be the same thing from when I was really little. And I grew up around women who would pick themselves apart in the mirror, to themselves, to each other, to their spouses. And so I learned that as a woman, that's what you do. You look in the mirror and what you see back are the things that are wrong with you. I remember being 5 or 6 years old and getting up into the medicine cabinet above our sink at my house and seeing things like Dexatrim. If you're too young to remember what Dexatrim is, it's a diet pill. I'm pretty sure it's been like banned from killing people because of like doing crazy stuff to your heart. I remember my mom's hands turning orange because she went on a carrot and mustard diet. She must have lost weight from throwing up because that sounds absolutely disgusting. But these are the things that I remember. And so we grow up with this culture of women who are constantly picking themselves apart and putting themselves down. And even more than that, then, our kids are inundated by these images of beauty. What it means to be beautiful, right? It means to have big eyes. It means to have long legs. It means to have an absurdly long giraffe neck, evidently. It means to look the same. I am the mom of 3 boys. 2 of them are over here. They're cute. And I will tell you that on all 3 of those ultrasounds, when I saw that they were boys, I breathed the biggest sigh of relief because guys do have some body issues. I understand that, fellas, but it's not anywhere near what it is for a woman. And I was like, oh, things I don't have to deal with. A couple years ago, I was blessed enough to become a stepmom to a little girl, and I was like, what do I do to this creature? And how do I protect this creature? I didn't know how to relate really because we do all the messy boy things, and I just inadvertently just didn't know what to do. I forgot what it was like to be a little girl growing up. And we needed a bathing suit for her at our house. So I went around looking because I wanted to look and shop for all the cute little girly clothes and the things you don't get to do necessarily when you have little boys. And I came across Abercrombie Kids, okay? 6-year-old little girl. She's knees, elbows, and ribs. I don't know if you can tell. That says push-up. on this little tiny string bikini. What is there to push up? Her ribs? I could have put her knees up in it. What 7 to 10 to 12-year-old needs a push-up bathing suit? That one, evidently. And we start to sexualize our kids. 28.3% of characters in Disney films that are women are dressed scantily or in a sexual nature, as opposed to about 8% of the men. And I'm not really sure which 8% of the men that is. I've never seen a Disney prince in a Speedo. I'll just leave that there. And we send this message to our little girls about what do they want to be when they grow up. They want to be pretty. Like, that's the be-all and end-all. Like, pretty means to look like this. Pretty only means your physical features. It doesn't mean what's inside of you. And that's what we have for these little girls. That's what we're giving our daughters. It's back to my little Disney thing. Does it bother me that I'm one of the only fat Disney animated characters and my role as an evil villain reflects society's discomfort and shaming of fat people? How would you feel? Yeah, that sucks. This movie, particularly if you're an adult, kind of teaches you that size is bad. As she gets bigger, she gets badder, right? Nah, girl, it's totally cool. It's good to be big. It starts to get worse as they get older. Your Halloween costumes go from that to that. We are sexualizing our children because I know adults who have costumes just like that. American Apparel has these great ads that are geared to kids. We're selling jeans here, not a shirt, obviously. And I'm not sure what we're selling over there on the other side. And here we're selling a sweatshirt that is supposedly unisex, so why her boobs are hanging out, I'm not entirely sure. There are articles and research upon research done about ways to package and market things towards kids, teens, and tweens, because they are the biggest market for beauty and self-help products that there is. They are the biggest moneymaker. Kids spend billions of dollars every year to make themselves look different. And it continues until we're old. Our ads teach us what is desirable, what is beautiful, like Dolce & Gabbana. Clearly, if you look like this, I'm not even sure what they're selling. Perfume, shoes, big suit thing, I don't know. But if you look like this, some really well-built, oily men will come and accost you while you are sunbathing on the roof of wherever you happen to be sunbathing. Are you beach body ready? Evidently not. This is what a beach body is. This is what is beach body ready. And if you're not, we have all of this weight loss pills for you. All of the weight loss pills. We'll tell you how to get beach body ready. We'll tell you how to look great naked, because you only look great naked if you have flat abs, you're toned, and you don't have any cellulite. 1, 2, 3 abs. The perfect swimsuit for everybody. So we've got you covered. If you don't look good naked, we'll show you how to cover it up strategically. And our Victoria's Secret models will show us what the perfect bodies look like. Airbrushed within an inch of their lives. It gets worse now that we're more connected and now that the world is globalized because of the internet. Because every time you click on anything on Facebook, anywhere, you get ads like this: 10 reasons why men don't find fat women attractive, as if I'm here for a man to find me attractive. I would like to address some of these though. You two cover your ears for a minute. Number 3, her body makes unattractive sounds during sex because of her excess fat. I am a woman who has had sex. I am a woman who has viewed adult material, so I've seen other people, skinny people, having sex. There are none of those sounds that are particularly attractive or that I would want to listen to on the in my car. If you start to get a little uncomfortable with the sounds that are happening during sex, you're probably not mature enough to be having sex. Number 4, she lowers a man's social status. A man's social status is based on the appearance of his wife, which must be why Donald Trump is so popular, because it cannot possibly be because of his personality. It must simply be because he's got a hot, skinny wife. Number 5, she's unhealthy. We hear this a lot. Being fat is unhealthy. Here are some things that you don't know by looking at my body. You do know that I'm fat, and that's okay. You don't know that for 4 years I taught Zumba. I taught Zumba 5 days a week. That's 5 hours worth of teaching, plus an additional 3 hours every week of rehearsing my routines and going over them. 8 hours a week I was dancing. You don't know that I play volleyball. I play volleyball competitively. I play 4s rather than 6s, and I play very, very well. You don't know that I play competitive softball, and I play that very well. You don't know that I dance, and can dance for hours. You don't know that I'm unhealthy. You don't know my blood pressure. You don't know my A1C. You don't know any of that. You just know that I'm fat. Don't make assumptions. Number 6, diet costs a lot of money. Oh, she must have spent so much money on food. Let's talk about how ramen noodles, the most completely nutritionally deficit food, are like 26 cents a piece. And the red and green peppers that I like are like $2.69 a piece. No, my diet doesn't cost a lot. Number 7, she will pass her bad habits on to her children. Look at those guys. That one's a dancer. You can uncover your ears, bud. That one's a dancer. That one's a He-Man. Neither of them are unhealthy in height, weight, or any other measure. What? Shh. Number 9, she's probably lazy. Again, this goes back to things that you don't know about me. Things that you don't know by looking at me. You don't know that I have a full-time career that requires me to work about 50 hours a week hard work. You don't know that I'm a full-time grad student here at the University of Toledo. You don't know that I'm a full-time mother unless I have my boys with me. That I'm a burlesque dancer, a theater mom, a dance mom, a budding community theater thespian. You don't know these things. And that I sleep about 5 or 6 hours a night. Doesn't sound very lazy to me. Number 10, that I'm probably selfish. I think there are several people here who would attest to that. I'm not at all selfish. This is an Ashley Madison ad. Did your wife scare you last night? She looks like this. It's okay to cheat. Gross. See photos of 35 celebs who've aged horribly. Because in addition to not having a desirable body, flat abs, and cellulite, you also probably shouldn't age. Don't worry, we can fix it. There's that Dextrin I was talking about. There is no shortage of diet aids, weight loss aids, hunger stoppers, fat burners on the market. Ally, this one's a personal favorite of mine. If you've ever read the back of the Ally thing, it basically tells you that if you're going to take this FDA-approved pill, you should probably bring some extra underwear and pants to work with you that day because you will have anal leakage. Price of losing weight. Carb blockers and fat blockers lose weight the easy way. Dr. Atkins, that quack. Some more fat flushers, and whatever the hell this jackass is hawking this week to burn your fat. Okay? And even if you're not bombarded by fat shame, because we're not all in this room bombarded by fat shame, you are still inundated with messages that tell you that the way you are right now as soon as you get out of bed is not enough, and that it should change. Got a problem with your boobs? Do you have an unsatisfactory bust? Are they unequal? Do you have a postnatal bust? Oh, yes. Do you have a menopausal bust? We can fix that. There are creams, there are pads, there are pills. You have articles that need to tell you how to make sure your breasts are attractive after you've nursed your baby. Pretty sure that after I've nursed my baby, they've done their jobs. Push-up bras. Thank you, Jesus. I'm not saying anything that I'm about to show you, any of these products really are all that bad. I'm wearing a push-up bra right now. It's got them up nice and good. But what I am saying is that you are inundated with messages that tell you you need this to be enough. You need this to look like what we want you to look like. You need bigger boobs. This is perhaps my favorite bust enhancement invention of all time, and one that I would totally endorse. It is a wine rack. You can put a bottle of wine in that thing, and it's got a little straw, and you can just walk around work and sip and let your boobs get smaller throughout the day. Got wrinkles? Can't age. We'll fix it. Before and after. God, it's like she's not even the same person. Like, her hair's completely different, her eye shape's completely different. But it's all because of that little bottle right there on the right. Let's talk about your butt. Lift it, tone it. We got jeans for that. We also have these crazy underwear, which I cannot possibly imagine are even the least bit comfortable. And I don't understand how they stay where they're supposed to stay. And if the underwear don't do it for you, we got this like cream and chicken cutlet thing. You just slap on there, push them up, push it out. Nobody gets away with it. You have a problem? You have a, I can't remember what the name of the skin condition is.
Vitiligo.
Thank you, you have vitiligo? Well, you can't walk around with your face like that, can you? Cover that up. Put your makeup on. You cannot have natural hair. You should probably straighten that because that is the Western definition of beauty, is to have hair like a white girl. They even liken Beyonce. Seriously, Beyonce. They change her. They Photoshop her. If they Photoshop her, the rest of us are screwed. So this is where I was. I was inundated with all these images. I've been inundated with all of the messages that I've gotten where fat equals ugly. Fat equals no good. Growing up, I grew up in a house where two things were valued, okay? Academics and appearance. And because I was always a big girl, it wasn't really looked upon very well. I remember being made to jog up and down the road while my dad rode a bike, like a little pace car next to me, yelling at me to keep moving. I remember being told that I would be lucky to find somebody to marry me because guys don't like bigger girls. Nobody's going to be attracted to that. It doesn't matter what the content of your character is because nobody will ever get past your body, ever. I graduated from high school and I moved out immediately. I went to college. I started to major in broadcast journalism. I was only 17, so on breaks and stuff I had to go home. And that first year of college I was told, you know, you should probably consider changing your major. They're never going to put you on TV. You're fat. You're ugly. You need to find something else to do with your life. And so I dropped out of school. And what did I do? I grabbed a hold of the first guy that ever wanted to date me. I grabbed a hold of him so hard and I didn't let go. So I married him. And I had a child with him. And he was emotionally abusive. And he was unfaithful. And in my heart of hearts, I believed that is absolutely what I deserved because I was just lucky to find somebody to tolerate my body. We divorced. I didn't learn. I did the same thing again. The next guy that I dated, grabbed a hold of him because I was lucky. And this guy, he was hot. Like, so hot that my family was like, do people really wonder why he's with you? And I thought, yeah, they probably do. Who the hell cares? Marry him. Totally unfaithful. He was unfaithful to me before we got married. I married him anyways. When I was 34, a good friend of mine said to me, there's this burlesque troupe and they're having these open auditions. And I thought it might be something you'd want to do. You want to go with me? I was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, I don't really necessarily know about that. So I did what everybody who wants to get out of something does. I called my sister. And I called them because your family's the most honest people with you, right? And I called because I was waiting for them to tell me, don't do that. You're going to make a total ass of yourself. So I called my sisters. And I said, craziest thing happened. My girlfriend wants me to audition for this burlesque troupe. Is that not the stupidest thing you've ever heard in your life? And both my sisters were like, well, why is that stupid? And I went, 'cause I'm fat. And they said, so, you can dance. Oh, okay, well, I wasn't getting what I needed from them. They were being supportive. They're my sisters. After all, they love me. They wouldn't say things to hurt me, right? So I'm gonna call my mom. My mom will tell me. My mom was like, I think you'd be really great at it. Son of a bitch. Who am I gonna call? You know who I called? I called my ex-husband. Somebody's gotta tell me that I shouldn't do this, right? That asshole said to me, yeah, do it. I think you'd be great at it. It's worth a shot, right? The worst they're gonna say is no. Ugh. Okay, I'll go. This is is what I think of when I think of burlesque, right? Gypsy Rose Lee, Vita Von Teese. They both look a lot different than I do. They both look a lot more naked too than I feel comfortable getting. So I just figured, well, I'll go and I'll be there and I'll be supportive of my girlfriend who really wants to do this. And, you know, they won't call me back and it won't be a big deal. And then I'll just go back about my life and go back about my business. So I went. And as soon as I decided it didn't really matter to me, I had the time of my life. I laughed, I danced like nobody was watching, I didn't care. And then I left, it was time to go. And I drove home, and I thought about getting some McDonald's or whatever, and kind of just forgetting about it, and forgetting about how much fun I'd had. And then all of a sudden my phone rang, and it was this number that I didn't know. And there was this gentleman on the other end of it. And any of you know anything about Tato Drag, it was Deja D. Delatero, who called me. And she said, so you're a burlesque girl now. Be here Tuesday at 7:30. I was certain she'd gotten the wrong number. She hadn't. And so there I was. I was part of this thing. This thing where I would have to get really comfortable with myself. This thing where I would have to take off my clothes in front of strangers. But look at these women. None of these women look the same. None of these women have the same body type. None of these women would say a thing about any of these other women's bodies. We're a pretty damn fun group of people to be around. Who wouldn't want to be a part of that? Now I will tell you there are things that I have learned throughout my life, being fatty, being a good fatty. You're supposed to make fun of yourself first before anybody else can get to the joke. You're supposed to make sure that you eat a salad or you eat nothing else at all in front of other people because you want them to think that you're actively trying to not be a fatty, right? You can't have people thinking that you are good with yourself the way you are. These ladies and these gentlemen up here were having precisely none of that. Any joke that I made at the expense of myself or my body was immediately called out publicly. There was none of that ever. And I was pulled aside on more than one occasion and told that if I had a problem with my body and that I didn't think I was beautiful and I didn't think I was talented and I didn't think I was worthy, God damn it, I'd better start looking a lot harder because somebody else saw something within me. So what is burlesque? Let's talk about that. It's a noun and a verb. As a noun, it's a variety show, typically including the artists, right? Striptease. It's an absurd or comically exaggerated imitation of something. It's a parody, or it's a verb causing something to appear absolutely absurd and exaggerated. When we're inundated with messages like this, and people who would do things like this, who will publicly fat shame anybody on the internet, made this poor guy stop dancing simply because they were laughing at him. When we have websites like peopleofwalmart.com, who will take pictures of anybody that they see and degrade them, I wonder exactly how bold the photographer of this particular series was to get up this close to somebody, and what makes them feel so entitled that they should do that. And I want to know how that person felt afterwards. Because I don't think that if somebody is up that close taking that picture of my belly that I wouldn't notice. When we have ads like PETA, eat less, weigh less. And we have videos like Dear Fat People. You guys seen that one? Horrid human being. When we have professors saying, Dear obese PhD applicants, if you didn't have the willpower to stop eating carbs, you won't have the willpower to do your dissertation. Kiss my ass. Mine will be done in 3 years. When the first time that we see a fat woman having sex on television, the first thing we do is to make fun of her. Yeah, this is something that needs to be parodied. It needs parodied. It needs to be grossly exaggerated. It needs to be thrown in the faces of the people who do this so that they understand it's not right. We're not going to accept it. So what do? We burlesque it. Burlesque is the belief and innate understanding that in burlesque, it's okay to be weird. Unacceptable is expected. Mocking the social constructs of the day are damn near a requirement. Mocking the social constructs of the day is damn near a requirement. So let's mock those people. Let's mock the fat shaming. Let's mock the ads. Let's mock the assholes taking pictures of our bodies and putting them on peopleofwalmart.com to make us feel bad about ourselves and what we choose to wear and how we choose to present ourselves. Isn't that what we're doing when we dare to take the stage and shimmy our way into your hearts? Aren't we mocking society's rules and standards of beauty? Aren't we mocking the horrendous diet culture and social construct that says we're not good enough, just like we are, and that we're not worthy of applause? Aren't we mocking everything that was ever created to make us feel inadequate or unpretty or unlovable, on everything wonderful in life simply by popping on a pasty, some rhinestone underwear, and grinding like our lives depended on it? Aren't we? That's a quote from the Big Bang McGillicuddy. She is a burlesque dancer in Phoenix, Arizona. She is amazing. And she's absolutely right. That is exactly what we're doing. Since I started burlesque, I really haven't had a whole lot of overt fat shaming, although I did have one instance. And it came actually directly from a girl who was in our troupe. You'll be happy to know, I'm happy to know, she's not with us anymore. She questioned why I was doing what I was doing because of my body type. Because not only am I fat, I'm also not what is traditionally defined as fat pretty, you know, that nice hourglass figure. My boobs are pretty small, my hips are pretty big, my belly's pretty round. And so things, they move when I dance, right? And she questioned that to another girl. And I found out right before my very first show on our great big stage, right? We had done some little shows, and there had been a few dozens of people at the little shows that we had done before then. But this was a big show, and there were going to be more than a few dozen people. There were going to be probably hundreds of people. And Jerry crept back in. And Jerry thought, if this one person is saying this out loud, if she's willing to say it out loud, how many people are thinking it but just not saying it? If I go up there, if I take my clothes off, if I go down to Pacey's, heaven forbid, are they going to laugh at me? Am I going to hurt my troupe and the women that I've grown to love so much? I did that ugly cry thing. Your face gets all screwed up and you start to hyperventilate, right? And then you kind of hiccup and you have to cover your face because something's going to happen and your whole head is going to explode if you don't. And I was pulled aside by our producer, and I was told once again, you're here because you're wanted here. You're here because you have something that we need, and you're here because you are beautiful. Once you finish this ugly cry, look in the mirror and keep looking in the mirror until you can figure out who you are. And if that performance affect, and if this knowledge that one person said one thing about you, one person out of dozens and hundreds, if that affects your performance, you'll have a lot of people to answer to. Well, that was probably scarier than even the ugly cry. And the day came, the night came of our performance, and I went out for my first number, and there was no removal of clothing for that. It was just like a short skit, and it was fun, and it was great, and I had a blast. It was wonderful. And then I went out for my second number, and again, didn't take anything off. It was just a short, funny skit. And then we had our third number, was this group number that I choreographed, and not only was I taking off like my jacket and my skirt, but my intention was to take off my bra and go down to Pasties. I was terrified, absolutely terrified. And all of a sudden, just like an angel, Ruby kicked in. That part of me that I developed starting burlesque, that part of me that's fearless, that part of me that wants to show everybody that I can do whatever the fuck I want to do whenever the hell I want to do it. She just kicked in, and I walked out there, and I walked out with the two other girls that I was performing with, and we did it, and it was flawless. And right before the last beat of the song, I stopped and I kind of like clenched, right? Like waiting, because I just knew the silence was gonna be deafening and I was gonna have to run off the stage. And it was deafening, but it wasn't silence. It was a ton of people clapping and cheering and whooping and hollering, and they were doing it for me because they didn't care that I was big. I was beautiful, I was sexy, I was funny, I was talented, and it was amazing. So I went out there to make a mockery of everything. Hey, turn the sound off on that, you little turkey. I went out there to make a mockery out of everything. And the way that we do that, making a mockery out of the notion that fat's not pretty, fat's not sexy, fat's not talented, fat's lazy, is we bring Big Bessie on stage and we prove how talented and sexy she is. We stop hiding. We go out and we do the things that people say we can't do. You're too big to do yoga. No. She's doing a lot more than I've seen some other people do. And I've seen bodybuilders that can't do that. We buy the bikini. We rock the hell out of some sexy lingerie. And we take pictures of it. And we post them to prove how gorgeous we are. We date the gorgeous man. We date all of the gorgeous men. Our body's not perfect. So what? We run the marathon. We go out and we dance. We sing. We perform. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are, in fact, powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. And we ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant? Gorgeous, talented, fabulous. Actually, who are you not to be? You can do anything that you want to your body. You can put on Spanx, you can put on a push-up bra, you can lose weight if you want to, you can gain weight if you want to, you can tone, you can do sit-ups, everything that you want to. What I want for all of you, and what I finally found for myself, is at the end of the night, when I take that off, you take off the bra and Spanx, you wipe off your makeup, and you look at yourself in a mirror, is that you are comfortable in the skin that you are in right now, and you appreciate the body that you have right now, and you appreciate the journey that you're on and everything that your body holds. You're not a body. Your body's part of you, but you're an intellect, you're an imagination. You're a singer, a dancer, a writer, a creator, you're funny. You are everything, just as you are right now. And when you know that, even if you want to change something about your body, when you know that deep inside, nobody can tell you anything differently. And when you know that, you are unstoppable. It's not the size you are. It's not whether you're too fat, whether you're too skinny, whether you're too flat-chested, whether your boobs are too big. It's your attitude. That's the most important thing about you. I'm glad that after 34 years, I've finally kind of figured that out. And I hope you guys think that too. Thank you.
If anybody has any questions, we'll do questions now for Jerry. If anybody has any. You want to tell us about your blog?
Oh, yeah, I suppose I could do that, right? So I started this blog because I used to write a lot as a younger human being. Ow. And a lot of it right now has been like me transcribing kind of old private diary entries, but it's really about my life as a plus size person, and moreover my life as a plus size performer. So I'm working on transcribing my diary, although I did today kind of rant on there about stupid Starbucks cups things. Make it stop. Somebody make it stop. The URL is itsaburlylife.blogspot.com. I'm there every few days or so, posting something or other. There will be different performances that I do. I perform not only with the T-Town Tassels, but I've done some stuff with Stone Productions. So all of that kind of information will be on there in the future as it comes along. And, you know, just my thoughts and my brilliance and my general humor.
Is there any questions?
You guys were wonderful, thank you.
Speaking of Stone Productions, because we have some of the members of the cast in here,
We do.
the Rocky Horror Picture Show was amazing, and if you didn't go, you missed out. It was awesome, and they did awesome. So you guys are.
But a beautiful birdie has told me that the upcoming season of Stone Productions is going to be equally awesome, if not
Great.
more incredible. So there are big things coming there.
It was.
Toledo's got a lot of talent, guys.
It does.
Well, I'm done. So I don't know what y'all do after this.
If anyone else wants a attendance slip or extra credit or anything, I have them here, I just have to sign them, so. And there's a signing sheet up on this first table.
You're right, she was.